You're listening to G Woman Radio, the 24/7 radio for the gifted, genius, and game-changing woman.
Welcome to the G Spot, powered by G Woman Radio. The G Spot is a bold space for genius conversations with global game changers. Each episode of this live radio show brings together thought leaders, innovators, business owners, creators, and change makers for fearless conversations about leadership, legacy, innovation, and global impact. Now welcome your hosts, Alex Okoroji, Frankie Picasso, Swapna Abraham, Clara Rufai, and Mayuri Naidu.
Hey, and welcome everyone to G Women Radio. This is the G Spot, and my name is Alex Okoroji. I'm your host, and I'm very excited that we're here once again on another Friday. Yay! Okay, guys, you know what? Just first of all, I need to ask what's going on with everyone else. My co-hosts who are here, my amazing co-hosts. Swapna, what's going on where you are?
Hello, Alex. And hi, everyone. I'm Swapna from Cochin, India, where presently on a lull because of the plane crash that we suffered in our country yesterday. But yes, our lives must go on with our prayers for the departed ones, and the show must go on. So I'm happy to be here today.
Well, thank you, Swapna. Clara?
Indeed, indeed. Our hearts go out to everyone that's been affected by the plane crash in India yesterday. Well, for my part, I am coming to you from the G Woman studios here in London. And the weather, British weather, what can I say about it? It's 28 currently, feels like 31. And we're not complaining. We're happy.
Well, it's a little cooler here in the U.S. I'm telling you, I'm grateful for the cool weather because yesterday was terribly hot. It was like really hot, hot, hot. You know, I'm not a big fan of summer, and that's crazy because I'm, from Nigeria originally. So, but you know what? Just like you mentioned about the plane crash, that was really tragic. But our hearts go out to, all the people who lost loved ones, and so sad. But today on the G Spot, we're here to share the happy, right? And like you said, the show must go on. So, everyone, welcome to the G Spot. This is where genius meets the global game changer. As I mentioned, I'm Alex Okoroji, your host, and I'm joined by my powerhouse co-hosts, who are also the co-founders of G Woman Media.
Well, every week we bring you bold conversations with women shifting culture, challenging systems, and creating new legacies. And today's episode is all about global game, local roots. And we are thrilled to welcome a game changer who is so blazing trails in her field.
But before we bring her on, time now for a quick weekly shout out to our G List. The G Woman Power List, as you know, is more than just recognition. It's a statement of true feminine power because the 50 women named on that list are not waiting for permission to lead, innovate, or create change. They are taking charge and making things happen. So the first up today in my shout out is Nisa Leung. Nisa Leung, when we talk about playing on a global scale while staying rooted in purpose, Nisa stands out. Her work is a powerful reminder that investing in innovation at the local level, especially in healthcare, can create ripple effects that impact lives around the world. So Nisa is a healthcare investor and innovator. Her role is managing partner, Kimming Venture Partners. Nisa has invested billions into healthcare startups. She's backed life-saving technologies, biotech breakthroughs, and digital health solutions. So what makes her a G woman? Well, we think it's her strategic investment in medical innovation, in transforming global healthcare. And what's something that Nisa would say, investing in healthcare is investing in humanity's future. And then next up on my list, when it comes to global influence rooted in deep cultural pride, Beyonce is the blueprint. She's mastered the global stage without ever losing sight of her heritage, her purpose, or her power to shift narratives, especially for Black women worldwide. Beyonce, as you know, is a music and business icon. She's an artist, entrepreneur, and a philanthropist. She's more than a music legend. She is a business mogul. She's an activist. She is a cultural force. From launching Ivy Park to creating groundbreaking projects like Black is King, she continues to redefine music, fashion, and empowerment. What makes her a G woman? We think it's her cultural impact and her dedication to amplifying Black voices. And this makes her a permanent force in global influence. And what's something she would say? She would say, your self worth is determined by you. You don't have to depend on someone telling you who you are. And that said, here's where I remind you, right? If you haven't yet read our latest top 50 G Woman Power list in our global issue 2025 edition of our G Woman magazine, what are you waiting for? After the show, head on over to www.gwomanmag.com to read about the amazing, gifted, genius, and game changing women featured on there.
Well, thank you, Clara, for that. Your list every week is so, so amazing. We're so proud of this G list. So if you're listening, don't forget this is still G Woman Radio. You're listening to the G Spot, and we will come back after the commercial break.
Ladies, listen up. There's a brand new power packed issue shaking up the media world, and it's coming straight from G Woman Magazine. It's the Global Issue 2025 edition, and it's not just pages, it's purpose. We're talking leaders from the top 50 gifted, genius, and game-changing women to watch, to rising voices, deep conversations, and powerhouse features like our cover story, Dr. Harbeen Aurora Rai, founder of the G100, Women Economic Forum, and All Ladies League. You'll find bold interviews, visionary features, and stories that prove one thing. When women lead, the world changes. So, whether you're a leader, a creator, a founder, or just getting started, this issue is for you. Tap in now at gwomanmagazine.com. That's gwomanmag.com, G Woman Magazine, where visibility meets power and every voice matters.
Okay, we're back, and this is still G Women Radio, and yes, my name is Alex Akurji, and it's time for you to meet the game changer. Now, ladies, listeners, and lovers of culture, it's time to meet the game changer. A woman whose footsteps echo across continents and whose presence moves with grace, power, and purpose. Now, she is Verushka Pata, a master of Bharata Natyam, a storyteller through movement, and a cultural custodian shaping the future through ancient tradition. Now, with every gesture, she reminds us that dance is not just performance, it is prayer, power, and even protest. Now, Verushka is also the brilliant mind behind Kania Designs, a proudly South African brand that weaves fashion, identity, and heritage into one radiant thread. Now, through her visionary work, she fuses the elegance of Indian classical arts with the bold textures of African soul, creating designs that spark and speak without saying a word. Now, Verushka Pata's resilience and commitment to the global arts arena, Indian indenture, and shared histories on the African continent has allowed her to receive respect and recognition from the South African Government of Art and Culture, the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, New Delhi, the Minister of Art and Culture, Mauritius, and the High Commission of India for South Africa and Mauritius. Now, from global stages to grassroots communities, Verushka Pata is not just keeping culture alive, she's setting it on fire with intention, identity, and innovation. Please welcome to the G Woman Radio mic, our G Spot game changer, the magnetic, the mindful, and the magnificent Verushka Pata. Hey sis, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Verushka.
Welcome,
Hello.
Verushka.
Good guys. Thank you so much. Oh my God, what an introduction. Thank you.
Well, we're so excited to have you here on the show, and we're glad that you could join us.
No, and I'm just listening to the list of, the woman, the 50 women on your list of a powerful woman. And I just thought, oh my God, I'm so deeply honored to be with amazing women and as you said it earlier, of soul sisters, Clara, Swapna, and Alex, and Mayuri is not here. But I'm so deeply honored to join you guys today. Thank you so much.
Well, Verushka, you wear your laurels most humbly. What a killer combination, goodness gracious, to have dance and the arts and fashion and design. Mayuri was telling us in Sesotho, did I pronounce that right? One of your regional local languages. Is that
Yeah,
right?
so
Right. So
that's
she
right.
was telling us
Isizulu.
that, yeah. Okay. So she was telling us that Kanya means light or to shine. And it also
Yes.
represents knowledge, clarity, or something bright.
Yeah.
Verushka, what was the spark that started your journey? Whether that was dance, whether that was fashion, please.
So I would say that's the obvious eternal light that's within all of us. And
Mm.
even at the time of birth, it's already destined or ordained of what this little spark of light would be. So I was very little and started dancing from a young age. And I was blessed, to be brought up in a traditional family that loved Indian art and culture. And I had the opportunity of learning classical art from a young age. And then at 17, I moved to India to learn
Mm.
the classical art. I was my first time out of South Africa, and a
Right.
young girl with big eyes, big dreams. I took in everything from like every bit of my senses was stimulated, from fabrics to scents to flavors to movement to the humidity, the monsoon
Yes.
rains, the temple bells, it was my whole world, just like my whole life just began at that very moment. I knew it was destined for my gurus, which are like teachers, ordained teachers. So
Right.
my journey started, I think, my real life started there, where when I was chosen to be with a very special, enlightened soul as
Hmm.
my spiritual master,
Right.
and learn the classical art of dance in we call it Guru Sishya Parampara, means you live with your teacher, you imbibe all the life skills. So
Wow.
when I listen to the introduction and when I listen to you speak about Beyonce, Clara, I was thinking that for me, dance has become exactly like that. It's a culture. It's life itself. It's almost it's everything, because through dance I've learned, it's given me the tools to live life. I've learned how to engage, to multitask, to plan, to uh, so many aspects of my life started with just a simple dance class. And
Nice.
from that, the sounds of India and musicians and instruments, and looking at the leather that it's made from, and obviously costumes. And my family from Canada would come and stay with me, and I would travel with them into all these beautiful places of handlooms. And that
Right.
was the birth of Kanya for me. I didn't
Oh,
know it at the time, but I loved looking at traditional weavers, how, the village man would be seated down and weave,
right.
and very traditional things. So that was really, I come from a traditional background of my ancestral land of India, but
Hmm.
I'm very grounded in my birthland of Africa. And Inkanisa means shining light in isiZulu, and Kanyakumari is the southern tip of India. And
Right.
I was fond of calling my children Kanna or Kaneya. And when I chose to start Kanya, I wanted something that allowed not just my light, but everyone that is adorned with the weave of our land and
Yeah.
a bit of India to let their light shine, to let their soul shine. So that's how Kanya was born, because it was born from that eternal light as well. So yeah.
It's beautiful. Verushka, you not only do you have the best of, say, the arts and fashion, you have the best of two worlds, right? When you speak about India and
Yeah.
Africa, culturally, such strong continent and subcontinent. Um, and I sometimes wonder if someone like yourself, you are a G woman, is about the woman behind the G woman. That do you like do you see yourself independent of all that you do and all your art and dance and all of that? That's and along with that, I'd like to ask you: did that woman face any personal barrier in getting where you are today?
Just today, I shared with a friend that even I was just recently in a very small car accident last
I'm
week.
sorry about that.
And
Oh,
I just thought, like we have deadlines and we're working, and, I'm still writing. And I had a little bit of 2 very dull days. And yesterday I took a dance rehearsal for my student that's graduating. And I sat in that environment of musicians, brilliant dancing. And I sat and I was so present. I
wow,
realized at that very moment, this holy space will heal me, will take care of me. That even at my lowest point, a student can teach me, a student can lift up my soul and say, you are valued. Like this, and everyone that night, late last night, said, this could never have happened without your contribution. You're so busy, but you've taken the time out. And this morning I woke up and I thought, for all of us go through many, many trials. It's not the easiest as a female coming up in a
that's right.
business environment. I've come from a dance background, so it's a very sensitive, emotive, um, a very it's a completely different art is governed at a completely different level. And I thought, am I crazy to get into business? It's ruthless. I'm going to deal with,
Yeah.
you know I leave the religious sector, and I'm walking into a different patriarchal system.
Mhm.
But I thought, as an artist, I come with a very sensitive heart, and and an artist bringing that into a very powerful narrative will make it very essential. And then I thought about that this morning, that I shared it with someone, that I can forget about all my trials because I have great strength right in front of me. That a business is one thing, but I can always go back to a safe space, a beautiful holistic space of vibrant sounds and what I visually take in, what my senses take in. And it just quickly brings me back, because the mundane is actually not what we are functioning at, and not the level that we should be functioning at. But all this feel good, sensitive, authentic experiences is really what governs us. How I have helped
Mhm.
myself to survive in this new arena, a new field, a new playing field, is staying true to my authentic self. That
Wonderful.
I'm humble enough to say I don't know it and I would love to learn it. I always say I've never been in business, but I've learned so much in these past years. And when I have a bad day, I'm so grateful to acknowledge it for myself, because I just take it in. I acknowledge the space I am in, and I just move ahead because it's not tangible also. Just like this, it will also change tomorrow. So
Well, thank you. Thank you, Verushka, for sharing that. And truly, truly authentic best. Thank you. And I'm going to give the mic over to my dear co host, Clara. Over to you.
Actually, Swapna, you took that word authentic right out of my head.
Seriously.
Yes, you did. Verushka,
Wow.
honestly, listening to you speak is such a joy. You are definitely a G woman. You're so authentic. I love how you use your art to bridge cultures and empower, communities. Now, your work. I feel like your work beautifully merges, classical music and dance, classical Indian dance with fashion and cultural, what do I call it now? Cultural diplomacy, if you like.
yes, there we
But
go.
Mhm.
but, but I
True.
actually think that some people still see traditional art forms as being outdated or irrelevant in our modern space. So here's one thing. Is there a myth or a misconception maybe that you often come across about classical dance or about cultural fashion that you'd like to set the record on, set the record straight on today?
So I think with every generation that's evolving, it's like um, you even in India, US, South Africa, you have a generation that has been steeped in tradition,
Mm.
and then they find it very hard to breach the gap when they see another generation coming up and changing it. And I was
Mm,
one of those people because I come from a very orthodox tradition of India, learning a very cultural um, art form of Bharatnatyam. And when I looked at myself embracing my true origin of being born in Africa, and I thought about how much I love my land, and how much I love my people, and how I resonate with, um, if I don't see the difference, I thought that is as simple as it is, it's very powerful. And if I saw myself as general as dance, not defined by Indian, not defined by a female, not defined by Bharatnatyam, not even defined that I'm South African or in India or Mauritius or anywhere else. It's just a time difference. It's actually no separation. Then I thought it's very powerful if I make that my narrative, that the crossing over, dance will always be traditional. Traditional ballet will always be steeped in a very orthodox culture. What is so powerful is understanding the contemporary narrative that Verushka speaks from, that Swapna speaks from, that Clara speaks from.
mm,
Swapna's landscape of Kerala, what her family upbringing would be, what her work setting would be, what her dress code would be,
mm,
her dance would be different from Clara's, that's currently very hot in London.
mm,
So it's really our experience, our
mm,
tangible, authentic experience that is at this very moment that becomes contemporary. I'm doing the exact same art form, but my narrative will share a different story. I've gone through hardships, I've gone through children that have been ill, I've been through death, I've been through childbirth, I've been through abuse, I've been through all of that. My voice will be completely different. My dance will be completely different. My flavor of garments that I choose, fabrics that I choose, how I love beautiful things of life will be different. I'm still doing the very same traditional art, but my
Wow.
narrative is different. The place where I sit, for the last 5 years, I've chosen not to get onto formal, authentic stages anymore. I've danced in opulence for all my life and traveled the world. I stick to only temple courtyards and village settings. I stay grounded on just being on the ground, um, taking out no name, no announcements, taking out anything with paraphernalia and keeping it as authentic. So you stay close to me, you stay close to the musicians. It's even that is contemporary. If you're coming into a village in Africa to see a beautiful, you sing beautiful dance, you're not even looking that this is an Indian girl dancing with an African guy. It's not
Mm,
that. It's that I'm merging with someone's soul energy at that very moment.
mm,
What you
mm,
experience of the energy is a contemporary feeling. And the mood
mm.
you also come to sit with in a setting will be different. So
Wow.
in many settings, people are, against younger artists and, changing things. Um, I think that's just a mindset. I've been a very orthodox. I was stuck in boundaries all my life. I created the boundaries. Now I love
Mm,
it because I've taken all the boundaries down for
mhm,
myself.
mhm. No, I love that. I love that. I think the buzzword for today has to be authentic. Authentic. And I love when you talk about putting up boundaries and then taking them down. It's
And no one
exciting.
else does it. We're doing it ourselves. It's
Yes,
those
that is
boundaries that
so
have been
true.
put up. It's
That is so
ourselves.
true.
We think
That is,
someone else has put it up, but as
yes.
much as it's gone up, our minds can take it down. And you can still engage at that
Absolutely.
level where there's respectful limits for the other person, but definitely not for
Mhm.
yourself.
Absolutely correct you are. So I have another question for you, Verushka. Um, so as someone, right, who has managed to carve a powerful path, you've carved that path through both the arts and entrepreneurship, and you've gained a lot of wisdom along the way. What wisdom would you be willing to offer to the next generation of leaders, who are looking to honor women leaders? I'm talking about who are willing to looking to honor their heritage whilst creating bold new narratives. So for women that are navigating things like identity, leadership, creative
Mm.
expression in today's world, what is that guiding principle or lesson that perhaps has shaped your journey that you believe they could carry forward?
So, just as you've said it, I think three times already, it's also been the most valuable and powerful word share with women on my travels is being authentic. That when you think of being authentic means it comes with never forgetting. And you don't have to even say we should forget. We should be living and be conscious about our ancestral past, our own past of where we've grown up, what has our childhood been, because every experience is significant to where we are today. And women that I meet on the African continent, now that it was so beautiful how I share Kanya now is because that I was always a dancer in Mauritius, Reunion Islands, Seychelles, and South Africa. And we
Mm,
started bringing artists together and musicians, and making sure that artists do not come in from India, that all artists are shared on the African continent, so we get you know this kaleidoscope happening with the artists on our continent. And from that I started watching to see the expression of the clothes, and what women are feeling about themselves. And being in Mauritius, I've gained great confidence about women and their bodies, their confidence and self worth. And I've taken my experience of Mauritian women and I brought that into South Africa. And I would always say that I'm creating clothes for, I'm a big, bold African woman. I have big African bums.
mm,
I've got, that we built like that. We're proud of our
mm,
heritage in Africa. And in but there's in the Indian community it was different. People would not acknowledge, their bodies. But in Mauritius it's
mm,
completely different. And when we started speaking to women about being authentic to themselves, and what was it that everyone was so committed about, or only looking at branded items and branded clothes, and what is governed from the West, and what was our original weaves of our own land, what was born
mm,
from our own cultures. And that's
mm,
how we introduced the weave of our land from Africa and South Africa, and allowed people to identify with the prince in Mauritius. So why was it unique? For only, an island style lifestyle. So from clothes and dance and music, now that was almost to entice people to be able to come into circles, to be able to talk, for people to be comfortable. They wearing something that they feel they belong to. Once women started feeling comfortable in their own natural fibers, they realized that they also wanted to be true to their own cultures, and not saying, sorry, sticking to a culture. They wanted to acknowledge what was the greatness, the value that their cultures had brought into their current lifestyles. And that if they were powerful women that spoke of, that led women of the past, they were now wanting to talk and wanting to engage at the same level, wanting to understand. Ancestral culture and indenture history is a very, very powerful narrative on the African continent, in South America as well. So, being led by women that have shed blood and tears, and being exposed to great suffering, we now stand on those great shoulders of women. These women that are coming together now is a powerful voice of the rise of the diaspora. These women now believe they have power. They have a voice, from finance to medical to I only can speak on behalf of fashion and art. But when I saw what a powerful tool the arts are, and what is, we're not creating just beautiful clothes, we're creating conscious fashion where it's significant to your history, it's significant to that I'm wearing something that I belong to.
mm,
So when
mm,
I see women now, I think I always speak, I always, or I'm silent just to listen. But
mm,
my key thing that I've said, and you all are soul woman, we it's essential. We don't even have to say it anymore. We have to live by it, of being authentic to ourselves. When we are
wow.
authentic, I think that's an image of how someone that has, struggled with trials
Yep.
would want to
Mhm,
experience.
mhm,
They would want
mhm,
to say, I want that. And authentic is not being rebellious. It's
mm.
really being true to truth. What is truth?
Yep,
So
yep. Absolutely, absolutely true there. I mean, I love listening to you, but I will pass the mic very reluctantly over to Alex.
I, I like how you say very reluctantly. Like I literally could just listen to her all day. Like I'm like, okay, can we just wrap the show? Let's let her just keep talking. No more questions. Just let her talk. And it was so interesting. The word, one of my favorite words, authenticity. This is something. I mean, just listening to you, your level of spiritual awareness, and as you said, being authentic isn't really being rebellious, is being true to oneself. I always say, if I don't have to abandon myself or betray myself, you not being able to betray oneself, betray yourself. And so when you talk about that, I think that's great advice for young women. So, just listening to you share your journey of dance and art and culture, merging different cultures, fashion, all of this beautiful, conscious art creation, different forms. But the part that I know you talked a little bit about just delving into fashion, how that happened, and my thoughts, and of course, it being a very new arena for you, right? Especially going from the
Yeah.
spiritual world, and just delving into a very patriarchal system when it comes to business. So my thoughts are, when I know when the idea of branching out into fashion took shape in your mind, and venturing into this business, what would you say is your G spot moment? And we call the G spot moment that game changing moment, that light bulb moment, that moment when you realize, wait, hang on a second, I'm built for this. I know this is tough. I
Mhm.
know it's not going to be easy. I know I'm going to have obstacles, but you know what? I am built for this. And this particular moment in time, I realize the strength that I have. So, what would you say was your G spot moment?
A very powerful woman comes to mind. She was our previous Minister of Art and Culture, Mrs. Bongani Sitole Malloy. I was always wearing, when I got back from India, I was always looking for 100% cotton. Swapna will know we spoilt in India with organic
Indeed.
fibers and thatch and indigo. And I came back and I thought, oh my God, how do people wear synthetic fibers?
Mm.
And when I looked to Durban Central, it's the heart of our African community. I found myself lost in these beautiful streets and seeing like robust fabrics. And it was 100% cotton, but it had a wax almost on it. So I washed it, and then I started looking at African fabrics, and I always would wear it. So I made my own clothes, and everyone loved it because they saw an Indian girl wearing African fabrics, or I'd wear cotton saris with an African blouse. And I'd always wear beads. I loved beads because I loved the isiZulu story of the Zulu love letter. Um, so I'll just tell you that quickly, and then I'll tell you my G spot. But this is all leading to my G spot. But the Zulu love letter is a tradition that in our villages, when there was no telecommunications, and if there was a death in a community or a childbirth, or there was going to be a proposal or a wedding, or someone's in love, they would bead the beads together, and the colors would suggest what is the mood. So it will be, and if a girl did not like the guy that she didn't want to, that was proposed to her, she'd make the chain a little short so it doesn't fit his neck. So because you don't meet him, it doesn't fit. She's so smart. So the neck piece would not fit, the Zulu culture, and then the marriage would be off, or the proposal. If there was a death, so the children would run or take a cycle and move across to the next village and share it. So the Zulu love letter has become a very significant part of our culture and Kanya, because I share the letter with every one of our garments. So we bead a story, according to the tradition of what we've designed. But in my early days as an artist, I was traveling into Europe, and I'd always wear African fabrics in my lengas and saris. And I met our minister, and that night I thought, oh, I want to wear something different. So I cut up a Tussar silk sari, and I added a shwe shwe piece right across it. And I stitched it up that night. And I thought, I'm going to wear an African sari the next day, Indian African. And when
Wow.
she saw me, she said, oh my God, for the first time, I'm actually seeing and experiencing social cohesion. And every minister, every um, head of state, and every premier of our country speaks of social cohesion. And
Mm.
if we break down the word, and I looked of being cohesive, and I looked at these two magnanimous countries coming together, and she saw it. And I thought, for my God, like for all these years, I never saw it. And she said, "You have to dress me for an event, Verushka." And I did. I dressed her. She looked amazing. I've never thought I could design, but I suddenly could sketch. And I put an amazing garment for her together. And from that, the next time she saw me, she said, "You are opening up a business." I said, "I'm an artist. I don't do business." She said, "You are going." The next day, a company called a small business enterprise and said, "Our ministers asked to invite you to train you for 3 months."
Oh,
For three
wow.
months. Just to and then I would never attend any of the lectures because I was always traveling and performing. And I was on a flight one day, and something of her note that she wrote to me fell out of my folder. And it said, "I see you as a powerful Black woman, and your voice will be heard one day." And it changed my life forever. I came back and I opened the company, I registered, and I said, "I'm going to learn to design. I'm going to travel. I'm going to now really research if this is my forte of sharing the narrative of the weave of my land. I want every African woman to be proud of their land, to be proud of wearing something authentic, but I had to learn it first." So I really traveled, went into villages. I loved it. I bought fabric from every corner of Africa. And every time I meet her, I say, "You've changed my life completely." Because in every interview, she's someone that I know that I would maybe at a later stage I would have realized it that I'm capable and I would do this. But it was really our minister that changed my life and made me believe that I'm not just going to be a woman I am magnificent at running my home and managing my beautiful children, but yeah, my life is so beautiful and purposeful that I would love to share this with the world. All of this craziness.
Wow.
Gosh.
You know what? I mean, I just had goosebumps, just listening to your story.
What a
And
story.
by the way, let me just say this. I'm a huge fan of your work. I've seen some of those designs. I
Aww.
would wear them in a hot beat. Like, I'm telling you, I'm like,
Aww.
"What? This is so pretty." Okay, I know that we have if you're tuned in, don't forget, if you're listening live to this is still G Woman Radio, and you're listening to the G Spot. And of course, we've got our amazing game changer, our special guest, Verushka Pata. But here's what we're going to do. I know we don't have so much time left. It's funny how time flies when you're having fun. And we have just about 15 minutes before we wrap this up. But we'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back for our roundtable discussion.
Are you a gifted, genius, and game-changing woman looking for your tribe? Introducing the G Woman Collective, a powerful new global hub where women who lead, build, create, and innovate come together to rise. Founded on the premise that women's collective voices hold boundless power. At the heart of our mission lies a powerful purpose: to ignite global visibility and momentum for women everywhere. Whether in boardrooms or broadcasting, the mission is simple: make women seen, heard, and unstoppable. Join thousands of women across continents in a vibrant digital epicenter that's redefining community, collaboration, and visibility. From private forums and global networking to live sessions, masterminds, mentorships, and exclusive media features, including access to our sub-collectives. This is not your average membership. This is your seat at the table. Become a G-Woman ally, G-Woman champion, or G-Woman vanguard, and step into a space designed to amplify your voice, fuel your mission, and elevate your legacy. Sign up now at gwomancollective.com and let's rise together. G Woman Collective, where gifted, genius, and game-changing women belong.
Okay, we're back, and this is still the G Spot on G Women Radio. And yes, just before we went in that quick commercial break, we were talking to our very special guest, Verushka Pata. And now, it's the G Talk Roundtable. I know we don't have so much time, we're just kind of going to run through this a little bit. But on today's roundtable, we are discussing global game, local roots. Now, building global brands while staying grounded in local community. And of course, you can tell that our guest obviously exemplifies the theme
Absolutely.
for today's
Absolutely.
conversation. You can tell we don't need to say too much. So I'm going to quickly ask you this, Verushka, and we'll probably just run through this quickly. You've already talked about how you're not just designing clothes, right? It's really about conscious fashion, right? And Kanya design obviously feels like more than just fashion. It's harmony between honoring traditional craftsmanship and designing contemporary pieces that speak to modern women and different women around the world. Because I said I would wear it for sure. So my question really is, what has been your biggest lesson in building a brand that's both purpose driven and profitable, especially in the cross cultural context?
I'm very young to this, so I think what I've just realized recently about lessons learned is that in the early days, I would take on anything and everything and not be wise about making decisions about where I place myself, where I place Kanya. I just thought, more presence or, more opportunities for Kanya. Yes, it covers us, from a media perspective, but when I started seeing that Kanya was different from other brands, I was someone, also coming from, a classical background. I would not attend beauty pageants and fashion shows. I just thought, I didn't want to see women. And, now I have no issues with it. But I just thought, I wanted something of content. And my students of my dance school would not be allowed to take part in competitions. I felt that every dancer was a brilliant dancer and not to be defined by an award. So when I looked at all of those things, I thought, in the last 1 year, I actually choose the place that I'd love Kanya to be present because our vision is completely different. And for what I was investing in creating the garments and the storyline or the essence behind it and the very nuance of staying true and authentic to the narrative of that, I have to be conscious. I am only telling the story of the weave of my land. If I get caught up in all the paraphernalia of the glitz and the glamour, then I'm missing the point. And I did all of that. And I fell very hard initially. And then I decided that why are things going wrong? Why are the contracts not coming through? I'm so present. I provide a brilliant story. And what is it, And then I realized that that's not the platform for Kanya. I have to look at authentic spaces that people will appreciate this narrative, that people will appreciate of wanting one of its kind. This is not meant for the everyday person. It's not meant for the person that's going to be rushing all over. I'd love for them to stop for a moment and say, I'd love to wear something like this because I know it will change their lives if they know the narrative and they know the story and it comes with that energy. But I think the great lesson for me is that I started working on quality rather than quantity, because Kanya always was born on quality. I
Mm,
had to make sure that I sustain it and keep it at that level and not taint it by me wanting to be exposed. The
mm,
time will come. The
yeah.
time will come when the right presence, the right, and I'm calm now. I create. I want, I constantly go back, because when I get involved in messy situations, I constantly go back and say, what is your truth? Your truth is you are only a storyteller of the weave of the land, nothing else. And if I come away from that, then I'll get caught up.
You know what? Thank you for sharing that, and that deeply resonated. As a true lesson, right? We're not for everyone, and everyone is not for us, and to
Mhm.
somehow figure out that, you know, it's about quality. I'm like that.
Mhm.
I think that you
Yeah,
have to distinguish, figure out what you're creating and who it's for. I think when we do that, when
yeah.
we figure that out, everything else becomes, so much, because then we don't have to worry that we're not embraced by everyone, because like you said, we're not for
Mm.
everyone and everyone's not for us. So thank you for sharing that. And I know we don't have time left. We have 9 minutes. I'm telling you, I wish this was a 2 hour show. Like, because we have the perfect guest, right? There's so much to
Indeed, we
learn,
do.
so much to learn from you, and you have so much to share. But we're gonna switch things up just a little bit, and
Mhm.
we'll just ask you a quick question, and you just have to share one word, one phrase.
Okay.
So, if Kanye Designs had a soundtrack, what three songs would be on it?
A beautiful woman, um, African queen, uh, something that has soul in it. The word soul. I'm trying to think of a song.
Well, you made some great
So,
choices already. So
Yeah,
let's go. So if you
on to the
had,
next.
if there was one African fabric, a motif that you would wear for the rest of your life, what would it be? Just one.
I think the Indibele print.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. So quick. I think I probably know this answer. I don't know why I think I know it, because maybe because you shared. But let me just ask, quick one: the boldest design risk you've ever taken, and did it pay off?
Absolutely. I would say that first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's me stepping out of my traditional clothes. I started wearing, from wearing just plain African, just using the fabrics. I started wearing African ball gowns and being super confident about my beautiful body, and people only seeing me on stage in traditional garb with jewelry and all the adornments. They now saw, almost an African queen. So I've made bold
Mm.
statements on my own, and my confidence has filtered down and been showered upon so many other women now that I dress, because I can safely tell them that I'd love to show off their bodies and allow them to have the same confidence that I have today. That I never wore a ball gown. The first ball gown I've ever worn, and the first very brand I've ever worn, is my own brand and my own ball gown.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So, hey, I know we have only five minutes left to go, and I'm just gonna just take a quick musical break, just a quick musical break, pretty short one. And this is Daniel Taylor, So What, and we'll be back.
You tell me I should try to get along. You tell me I am just a little bombastic, but I don't think you know what that word really means. A girl can speak her mind, it doesn't mean she's blind. You tell me I should try a little more to look just like the girls in glamour, but I don't care what
just very quickly while we're waiting, perhaps it's a good time to remind our audience, drop your questions, drop your questions in the chat box if you have any questions.
Okay. So I didn't realize that I was muted and I came back on it. That's so crazy. But I was just saying that it's time for our drop mic moment, and that song was Danielle Taylor, So What? And it's really about being authentic. So I know we don't have time left, and we're just quickly going to jump onto our drop mic moment. Swapner, what is your drop mic moments from today's conversation with our guest?
Verushka, for me, it was when you told me that you got your healing just being in that place with all those lovely sounds and familiar and holy soil and stuff. That was it for me. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay. So Clara,
So
your
for
drop.
me, yes, I'm left with an impression. I loved what you said, what Verushka said about conscious fashion and art with purpose. And so I'm left with this impression that real influence isn't just worn or heard, it's felt. Conscious fashion, purposeful music, they do exactly that. So thanks, Verushka, for sharing that.
Okay, Verushka. You talked a lot. My drop mic moments was when you were talking about how contemporary traditional is pretty much the same, right? Same traditional art, but different narratives, and it's the narrative that we bring to our art piece or our art expression, right, that makes it different. Correct. So we just want to thank you for your presence. And do you have any final words? Just before we wrap this up.
So I was just, when listening to the last song, I just was thinking that I took a deep breath and just wanted to be conscious in the moment and say, I'm so, so grateful to meet amazing, authentic women like yourselves, Swapna and Clara and Alex.
Aw.
Even this moment is such a gift because we're acknowledging each other's energy, the presence of so many beautiful things. You're listening to a stranger share her story, and actually, the story is no different from your story. So, when we say authentic, I'm just very, very grateful to meet sisters from across the globe. And it's just the time zone. There's no separation of us. Thank you in
How
abundance.
wonderful. How wonderful.
I'm eternally grateful for this wonderful chance to meet beautiful, beautiful souls. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And, I love the thought about, it's just a time thing, because my idea about
Yeah.
time is just so, it's crazy. But well, thank you to all our listeners. Thank you to everyone who's listening right now. Don't forget to follow us online at Women Media. And of course, tag us in your thoughts with hashtag GSpot Radio. Now, if there's anything you enjoyed in this conversation, or tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, this was a really great conversation. You can catch the replay wherever you get your podcasts, of course, on our station as well at GWomanRadio.com, on the show page, or anywhere else you listen, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else. And don't forget, until next time, stay genius,
Stay genius.
stay game changing.
Game changer.